What is up? Today we are going to talk about World War One, also known as the Great War. The standard for today and for this unit is explain the causes, characteristics, and long-term consequences of World War One, including the major decisions of the Treaty of Versailles. So what that means is when you're taking notes here, you have to figure out what the five causes were of World War One. What were some of the characteristics, key battles, people, and events that took place? Maybe some of the technological advances, and then what consequences happened after World War One. Remember, consequences can be both good and bad. However, most of these are going to be bad, and include in there what the Treaty of Versailles was and what it entailed. So there were five causes of World War One. First, you had militarism, and what that means is that there was a race to be the strongest military in the world, and really that was mainly across Europe and then parts of Asia. They were spending big money on a lot of the arms, which is weapons, the boats, the ships, the planes, all of that to become the strongest in the world. Second was nationalism. We've talked about that. It's being proud of your country, but it leads to this patriotic edge, which leads to competition to see who's best. Imperialism, we've been talking for a long time now about countries imperializing for strength, resources, power, and land. Alliances, there were a ton of alliances, and that means that if you attack one, you essentially attack all. And then last but not least, the final straw was the assassination of Archduke Franz Ferdinand of Austria. What that looked like is tensions were growing across Europe. Franz Ferdinand, who was next in line to be the leader, was on a tour with his wife, which is shown in the picture, and they were going throughout parts of Bosnia. And there was this Serbian nationalist who shot and killed the Archduke and his wife. Austria was convinced it was the Serbian government who was involved, although they denied it. And then what happened next was that Russia backed Serbia. Austria waited for Germany to get in there, and then war began on July 28th of 1914. But due to the alliances, here's what happened next. You had Serbia, who had a relationship with Russia. Russia had a relationship with Great Britain and France. Nobody had a relationship with Belgium but Great Britain. But since Belgium backed up Great Britain, who backed up France and Russia, who backed up Serbia, inadvertently, Belgium had to be involved. And that same thing on the other side. You had Germany, Austria, and the Ottoman Empire backing one another up. And then Bulgaria ended up joining as well. The war itself. Here were a couple of the major events in what was called the Western Front. You had this thing called the Schlieffen Plan, which Germany wanted to, at both times, attack both France and Russia through these sneak attacks and to go through Belgium, which was a neutral area. One of the first battles of World War One was called the Battle of Liege, which the Germans destroyed the town of Liege and started to advance. And it was a big moral victory, though, for the Allies because they started to back up the Germans a little bit and stop them. And then the Battle of Marne, which was a meeting 30 miles outside of Paris, where they went to battle and the Allied powers held off Germany, pushed them back, and then literally, you'll see, dug in for what was called the War of Attrition, which kind of means last man standing wins. Trench warfare started in World War One, and this is what it looked like. It was gross, it was dirty, it was nasty. It was when they literally dug in, and that's where they fought, slept, ate. Everything was out of those areas. And you can see the picture of the guy on the right there. It would fill up with rain and with water. And that's when people developed something called trench foot. There was rats in there that would bite people and give people diseases. And a lot of people died because it was so gross down there. Here's a cartoon version of what it looks like, which might be a little bit easier to see and to understand. And you can hit pause at any time to check it out and fill in anything on your notes. Then on the Eastern Front, Russia invaded Poland. Russia, the government, wanted to get involved, but the people did not, and you'll see why in a minute. The Battle of Tannenberg, Austria and Germany successfully held off the Russians, and then because of all that, Germany pulled their troops, once Russia got out of there, back to the west to get out of the east side and concentrate all their efforts in the west.